Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting back into? We are getting into Married at First Sight Australia. We are now on series 11 and on episode 18. Okay, so this week is family and friends week for some of the couples, but for the newer couples that are now just moved into their apartments, this is about them kind of jumping ahead to get to where the other couples are, so they're actually having some tasks that they have to fulfill at this moment in time. And we have a shock surprise for one of the other new couples. But before we get into it, as I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so you know I'm wanting to do videos. And let's get into this episode, shall we? So first and foremost, straight off the bat, Ben's gone missing. Ben has gone walkabouts. Ellie, because them two stayed in different apartments, Ellie's tried calling this dude. This dude is not answering the phone at all. So, you know from the couch that they turned around and they said to Ben when she wrote leave, basically what she's doing is giving Ben 7 days notice on their marriage because she's ready to cut bait, basically. It's been a long time coming. Let's just put it that way with Ellie. It's been a long time coming. So then it goes to Sarah and Tim. They're in a good place right now. They're enjoying themselves. They're glad that they went into the confessions on the couch as a team. And they're starting to have fun with each other again. Okay, so the same with Jaden and Eden. No issues there. So we go to Cassandra and Tristan. Tristan is feeling very, very, very remorseful in regards of writing leave on that card. And that's my thing. If you knew that this is where your headspace have gone, then why are you sitting there writing leave on the card and then coming to regret it afterwards? Write down your true feelings. Stop with this messy game thing. And this is what I mean about people not dealing with their issues before they go into programs like this, because in programs like this, it's gonna bring it open. It's gonna bring it to the forefront to the point that you have to deal with it, because it's like an accelerated process of a relationship and then a marriage. Do you know what I mean? And this is what they're going to have to deal with. They're going to have to roll with the punches. If they really want it to work, then actually get in there and make it work. So he's hoping that they can move on from this. Like, seriously, it looks like they're trying to, and it looks like Tristan is ready, like, now to give his all to Cassandra, because she's a good woman, and if we let her go, he would have regretted that tenfold. He would have well regretted that tenfold. But I just hope he can move on, because he keeps saying this each week. Like, when we come to the couch, he gets in his head, oh, now he's better, he can sort it out. And then he gets in his head again, so then she has to try and navigate what the fuck is going on with him, and it's not fair on Cassandra. So then we go to Lauren. Well, you hear Lauren before you actually get to the room, because she's like literally still going off on one with Jonathan. And she's right at the end of the day, because you got this dickhead of a man who's made a bad comment to your wife, and instead of you being there and having your back, because she understood that Jonathan's not a loudspeaker. She didn't want him to be shouting, rowling, all of that. She just at least wanted him to have the presence enough to be loud enough to say to him, nah, you ain't talking to my wife like that, my dude. Because when they ended up replaying that scene where Jonathan actually did say, hey, don't talk to my wife like that, Jack responded to Jono saying she needs it. And all I'm going to say is, my misogyny, thy name is Jack. Like, seriously, thy name is Jack. I can't stand him. I can't stand Jack. I really can't stand Jack. I kind of hope that Lauren and Jonathan can come back to an even keel. But this is literally throwing them off, because yes, Jono wants to try and make right by Lauren, but at the end of the day, even when you tried to make right, you said you wanted to make right by her, you literally did the same motherfucking thing on the confessions of the couch by turning around and apologising to Jack and Tori for saying, oh, I caused the situation, that I said something that caused the situation, it may have spoiled, Tori's birthday. I'm sorry for that, and sorry to Jack, because you know what, they had it rough. Your wife had it worse, Jonathan, because this dirty ass of a man turned around and said for him to put a muzzle on it. I won't be able to get over that. I don't know what it is with the Australian Married at First Sight, but the people in there are more abusive than any of the other ones that I've watched. That's all I can say on that one. So I do agree with Lauren where she has to ask Jonathan where his priorities lie. Is it your friendship with Jack, or your priorities and your loyalties going to lie with the woman that you're going to be laying in bed with? Like, seriously, don't get it twisted, Jonathan. Make the right decision here. So basically, Jono's sitting there and stewing in, his self-pity about he gets why she's hurt, and he's annoyed at himself and that the fact that he's failed. And I was like, no shit, Sherlock. No shit as Sherlock. So then it moves to Tori and Jack. And I swear to God, these two effers are oblivious to everything. Like, seriously, they believe that they are the upper echelons of these people, that they're the powerhouses and everybody else is the circus animals, because that's what Tori keeps on liking them to, that they're circus animals within a pen, not realising she's within that same motherfucking pen with them. And this is what annoys me with Tori, because she honestly thinks she's all that, and she ain't. She really ain't. And I ain't talking about her looks. I'm talking about her whole attitude to everything. So anyway, Tori turns around and says to Jack that she don't want a night like that again. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, Tori, but while you're paired with someone like Jack, you're going to get a night like that 24/7, because he's gonna say some shit, and some shit is gonna come out. Or he's going to have a certain behaviour that he's going to give to you that you seriously ain't going to like. Because right now, you're just giving him a blight on everything this man is showing you who he is. You really don't want to know. So Tori turns around and they start having a laugh and a joke in terms of the fact that Jack got roasted like on a chair that night. He did. He got roasted by the professionals on that chair, because they were like, nah, they ain't having that bullshit. This man is being totally misogynistic and Tori's just glossing over it, but hey ho. So he's turned around in his VC and Jack is saying that Tori's support for her husband basically hasn't faltered. And the reason why I think Tori got to a point of saying I didn't think of it like that, and was starting to look inward in that sense, and that the fact that it actually made her physically sick when she thought about the fact of, your husband saying that he's going to pass you around like day old bread, is to get the experts to shut up about it. I think that's the only reason why she agreed with Mal. It weren't that she agreed fully and saw it from that perspective. No. It was so Mal would shut up about it. I think that's the only reason why she did, because even when she said she saw it from that perspective, did you see Tori go back and actually have that conversation with Jack? No, you didn't, because she didn't give a shit. Because at first she was blaming it because she said it was she and Jack talked about it. It was a joke from Jack's perspective to her perspective. It was a joke, because at the end of the day, everything that Jack says she believes. So she's become the mouthpiece for Jack at the end of the day. So they went and they got matching tattoos. They're this strong with each other that they got matching tattoos. So they're basically feeling that when everybody sees this, everybody's going to like it, and they're going to realise that they are the strongest couple within the group. And I'm like, no, everybody's going to think it's motherfucking weird, mate. Everyone's going to think it's motherfucking weird, because you are doing everything but actually going to consummate your marriage, because this man really does not want to sleep with Tori. Like, he really does not want to. So that's why I'm just full on disconnect with these two. Like, I just can't. I really, really can't. So then we get to Ellie and Ben again. So Ellie's basically sitting in the flat and she ends up getting a phone call from Ben. So she's asked, where are you? First of all, there's silence. So Ben then says he's outside, and you see the camera looking over and you can see Ben just walking out. So they basically, Ellie asks if he's going to come in so they can have a discussion. First thing Ben does is, are the producers there? She says, yeah. And she says, can they hear what I'm saying? She says, yeah. And he went, oh. What did he say? He said awesome, and then proceeds to say that he wants to come back, but he needs to get some sleep first, as he's had only 1 hour's sleep. I says, my guy didn't even sleep in the bed in the flat, because she checked everywhere. That bed was made. It didn't get slept in that night. So wherever Ben slept, it weren't in that flat. So I don't know what game Ben is playing, but to be fair, as soon as he turned around and he asked if the producers was there, as soon as he turned around and asked if she had him on loudspeaker, and Ellie confirmed it, that's when he started to play. That's when he started to play his game, because that's what Ben does. Now, my thing I would have done, I wouldn't have told him shit. I would not have said the producers were there. I would not have said that I've got the phone on loudspeaker. I'd have said, you can speak freely. I'm by myself. I just want to know where the hell you are, because you know what? Even if we're on the outs, I don't want anything to happen to you. And then see what the fuck he would have said. That's what I would have done. I would just to see what the fuck he would have said. So yeah, I don't like Ben. I really don't like Ben either. So then you go to Lucinda and Tim, and they slept in separate apartments. Tim is still freaking bitching and pissy about what's happened. At the end of the day, Lucinda spoke her truth. So Tim literally, in this scenario, in this experiment, has got to accept some type of openness, that there's going to be these issues that get thrown up, even if before you don't talk about it before, because you may not feel it when you're together and having this fun or doing what have you. But as soon as Lucinda got on that couch and then the discussion starting to happen, she started to feel a certain type of way. So she spoke out about it. That's just who Lucinda is. So I don't think she intentionally threw Tim under the bus. Now, Tim is going on with the fact that he believed Lucinda revelled in the fact that he was getting his ass handed to him. That's what fucked him off. But what fucked him off all the more, as it comes out throughout this episode, is the fact that everybody else started to rally around Lucinda. He did not like that. He did not like that. So now he's saying that he's closed off, and he's saying that she don't deserve no loyalty and she don't deserve his trust. And I thought, why is he here? Why is Tim here? Like, really, why is Tim here? Because for right now, he's not treating her with any type of dignity or with any type of respect. His attitude is absolutely appalling and frigging disgusting. So when I talked at the beginning that there was a surprise for one of the new couples, it was Ash and Madeline. They had not moved in to their apartment, because basically after the confessions of the couch, we know that Ash had writ stay, but apparently Ash decided that he reflected on the reasons why he wrote stay, and actually realized that he did not want to stay, that it was actually too much. So him and Madeline had a discussion and came to an amicable agreement that they would both leave. So they've both left the experiment. And Ash was saying that basically it was doomed from the start, and the warning signs were there, but he chose to ignore them because, again, he's another guy that all he saw were the looks and went past that. That just superseded everything else. He could not manage the quirkiness that was Madeline at the end of the day. I think Madeline's going to need someone from her community who is completely on board with what it is that she does, to be able to see past that quirkiness to the person that she is inside. Because when it comes to someone like Ash, or say someone like myself, because I'm a skeptic, not into that stuff, I would just be like, yeah, nah, small doses, better to be given in small doses. That's all I'm gonna say. So now we know Ash and Madeline has left the experiment, and now Family and Friends Week is in full flow, and we get to see Tori and Jack at the flats. They didn't necessarily say why they didn't go out, because they stayed in their flat. They didn't meet like Jack's mum and dad. They didn't meet Tori's mum or anything like that I could see. It was just Tori's friend Leah who came. Now, I like Leah because she's a total straight shooter, yeah. So Jack was already warned by Tori about not saying to Leah to put a muzzle on her in any way, shape or form. And this is what I mean. If you have to warn your guy, your husband, not to say that already, then you totally believe that this is who this person is, and that this shit rolls right off his tongue like no one's business. And certain other crap comes out of his mouth during this dinner when he thinks that he's got Leah fully on side. I don't think he has Leah fully on side. I think Leah is the type of friend where, okay, I'm going to trust my friend in that she believes that, you know, you two are in the right space, you two are good for each other, there's not much more that she can say, because at the end of the day, Tori is a grown-ass woman, but that doesn't not necessarily mean that she trusts your ass, Jack. Let's just put it that way. Jack, as we said, wishes to impress Leah and to win her over. So as Tori and Leah greet, they have the longest hug because they ain't seen each other for so long and they're the bestest friends. Why did this man start but crying? Why does Jack start crying? That was I was like, my guy, come on. I like to see men be emotional and show their emotions properly. I don't care if a man cries, this, that and the other, but this was just put on. How are you crying over them two hugging? That didn't make no sense to me. And even for Leah, I thought it was strange. Like, what are you on with at the end of the day? So Leah sits down, gets herself comfortable. So the first thing that Leah wanted to talk about, basically, because she'd spoken to Tori already, she'd have a conversation on the phone with Tori, and Tori told her about the incident in regards to Jack referring to one of the other wives telling her man to put a muzzle on it. So she was like, I need to break this down. I need to have this conversation because I need to know where this has come from, because Leah has already got these concerns that Jack is a big misogynist. But those are her concerns, and it was from the wedding. It was the impression that she took back from the wedding, basically, because Jack did not really give her the time of day, which made her then believe, as she said to Jack and Tori, that she thought this guy had something to hide. So she wanted to break down his conversation with them. So basically, Jack, of course, tried to explain his way out of the reason why he used the word that he used. Again, he's trying to sound contrite and apologetic. Again, nobody should buy the bullshit that's coming out of Jack's mouth, because as he'd already said after he said it, to Jono, and Jono said what he said at the table. He said she deserved it. And then in his own VC, he said, but you know what? He felt good saying that to her and about her. He felt good doing that, and it rolled off his tongue easily. Rolled off his tongue. So we know full well that whatever apology Jack gave, he did not believe in one iota, and he didn't mean it. So within that unpacking it, Jack described the fact that he was protective, basically, of his family, and he will defend his territory. That's what he said, his territory. He said the word territory first because that's what he first thought. Then he had to tack on the word family. And that's the reason why he said to the dude, put a muzzle on it. This man takes no accountability at all. No accountability at all. Leah does not look convinced. So then she goes on to the sex part of their relationship. And basically was asking them, or trying to ask them, and Tori was saying, just spit it out, get it out. And she was saying, okay, then are you two like having sex? And if you are, what's that like? Is it good? Because, you know, with your girls, you have those conversations. Tori went slightly quiet. Jack as well was, and I was like, Leah, they're not having sex. It's been coming up to the 6-week deadline now. Well, this week will make 6 weeks, and they're still not jumped bones with each other. So yeah, there's that. So they both turn around quite awkwardly, Tori and Jack, and say to Leah that they haven't had sex yet. So Jack, again with the bullshit, says that it wasn't at the forefront of his mind. And the reason why I say it's bullshit is because Jack had a countdown and said that he is a very passionate person. He is a very strong lover. He is X, Y, and Z when it comes to the bedroom, and said to her, usually I have that straight sexual to rip someone's clothes off. He doesn't have that with Tori. But yet on his honeymoon, he basically said to Tori that within 6 weeks we need to be getting it on, because if we're not, then I'll be thinking something's wrong and it'll be dead in the water in essence. I'm paraphrasing there, dead in the water in essence. So yes, it was at the forefront of Jack's mind. I swear to God, when these people say things, they really need to remember that there's cameras around recording their asses. There's people like us that take notes of what they say. Come on now. Come on. So Leah says it's not a red flag for her yet, but it is a big red orange flag when she was speaking to the producers at the camera. I'd still say that it's very unusual that they haven't in that sense. But then saying that, you need to look at Tim and Lucinda. But there's different reasons as to why they're with Jack. I don't understand his reasons. So Leah turns around and says that basically the Tori that she knows is quite a sexual person, and Tori agreed with that she's quite a sexual person too. And again, shock that it hasn't happened between the both of them. So Jack is talking about how he's been making dances Tori's way. I don't know if this was his like peacocking when he does his usual dalliances to try and make it appear to her that, you know what, he wants to get in the groove with her. This is what he's trying to put across to Leah. And he basically said out of his own mouth that he was ready to do it and nothing is holding him back. Or Jack is a lying sack of shit. He's a lying sack of shit. You know full well you don't want to sleep with this girl, but you know what Jack's going to do? Jack is going to force himself to and take one for the team just so people can shut up about it, and then they can turn around and say, look, everything's okay over here, we've done it now. That's what he'll do. That is exactly what he'll do. There'll be no passion and no giving, no end to a meeting, mutual goal in pleasure for both of them. He will just do it to get it over with. That's what he'll do, because he's being pressured now into doing it because of how people are thinking that they are, and not thinking that they're a cohesive couple. And that's why I say I think Tori and Jack deserve each other for real. Like, they really do deserve each other. So Tori is basically sitting there selling this relationship to her friend, yeah. So she's turning around and saying it's like a sweet spot for sure, but they're super united. And I thought, Tori, you're going to have to be super united. You have to sing off the same hymn sheet as Jack at the end of the day, because you ain't got nobody else to sing off a hymn sheet with. To be honest with you, Tori has put all her lot into this man against what everybody else is saying, against what everybody else can see that this man is. But you know what? That's her man. That's her man. And she gonna keep him. That's her man. So again, they keep talking about how they're the strongest couple of the group, and I don't think they are at all. They're just literally glossing over the issues and not really delving into anything deep between the both of them. They just find this whole experiment hilarious. Wouldn't surprise me if they've made a pact with each other, to be fair. So her friend did turn around and say that Tori is different with Jack, and she can see it, which is literally bugging her out. And Tori said thanks, and I'm thinking, I don't think your friend meant it as a compliment, my girl. I really don't. I think she meant it as, I am quite worried about you, because she sees that Tori has relinquished control to Jack. Now you see how Jack liked that. Jack was smiling and then he was touching her completely. I said, yeah, Tori's a part of Jack now. That's all it is. Tori is a part of Jack now. So Tori really sits in front of her friend, and out of his mouth he says, she has submitted to me, the man, naturally and organically. He has not tried hard to push anything. And I'm like, well, why is that Jack getting confident in him bullshit, and his more toxic masculinity pouring out of him, more of his misogyny in his words is pouring out of him? I mean, how can you sit there in front of the girl's face, yeah, and tell her that Tori has submitted to him, the man, and then to go on to say, naturally and organically? I don't think it was naturally or organically. As I said through previous episode, this man knows which buttons to press. This man knows which words to use. This man knows which actions to go about getting what he wants. And he specifically was going to break this girl down from as soon as she said that she was A, a control freak, and B, independent as they come. He was going to break her. That was his goal. That was his only goal. And now he's done it. Actually, not even doing it, he's done it. And he's proud of it. And he didn't have to do that by sleeping with her at all. Anyway, So you see Eden and Jaden meet Eden's dad and his brother Mitch, and I think Jaden's coach as well. So they're all getting on like a house on fire. They keep asking those questions. Mitch keeps asking him like if he's in love with her, and he said that they are getting there, and basically said they're basically saying that they're easiest the strongest couple in the group. I don't know what it is about this strongest and weakest couple of the group, man. You're a couple in the group. That's the end of you. You don't know the machinations of what's going on in somebody else's realm day in day out. All you see is a little bit that happens on the couch and what people are willing to give up. That's not everything. So quit saying you're the strongest couple of the group, because you don't know that at the end of the day. So then of course Mitch can't go without talking about his own experiences and what happened and where he fell. We know, we've heard it anyway. Moves on to Jade and Ridge, and basically they get a task to do, which is to write a letter revealing a significant experience. So Jade does write one to Ridge, and this literally opens her up, because she talks about how she was pregnant at 19, hoping for that family life for her and her daughter. Then she didn't enjoy her pregnancy because she was continually stressed out with the shit that was coming from her daughter's father. And then to top it off, that's when she ended up finding out that, you know, he was cheating on her with the best friend. So she then had to deal with the breakup of that relationship, and also the fact that she didn't get the happily ever after in terms of the family that she was looking for. So she did like literally break down. Ridge listened to her completely. Then after she finished her letter, he went silent and he went, hold on. I thought, oh, what's he doing? And then realised he was going to find tissue for her, and then sat back down and literally just gave her so much words of reassurance and hugged her. And I thought, and this is how you're supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to react to your partner giving you a piece of themselves. Do you know what I mean? Long may it continue, like seriously, long may it continue for them too. It moves on to Michael and Stephen. And Stephen, all I know, even after like the confessions of the couch and John explaining to you the situation that Michael went through, and at the end of the day was beyond Michael's control, and he'd never met this guy. Let's not forget that he'd never met this guy, yeah, and still had to wait another month in order to be found someone. That's how sure he was of this process, yeah. And he's still got his walls up. Stephen's still got his walls up. So they had to do like a melting hug, and I think this hug actually worked for both of them in order for them to connect on a deeper level. So fingers crossed that them two will move on, and Stephen, as he said, feels more comfortable around him, and they can open up a little bit more with each other. So then it goes back to Jade and Ridge, and Jade is just talking about how the confessions letter she said to Ridge was too much for her, and this is in her VC to the producers, because she always expects the bad in men, and she's scared that it will happen again, and then Ridge will just turn around and walk away from her. So she's always afraid of literally opening up, because she opened up before and it basically ripped her heart out. So Ridge sees her crying, pulls her in and says to her, why is she crying? At first she really didn't want to tell him, but after a moment of time he managed to cajole her into telling him, and she did. And then he point blank said, I ain't going nowhere. He said, the experts have got it right with you. And he says, I'm not going nowhere, absolutely nowhere. So, and he says that he will show her that every single day if he has to. He's looking for this to be a home run for both of them, basically. That's what he's wanting. So he was able to be reassuring her again. So then it goes to Lucinda and Tim. As I've already talked about, they were in separate apartments. Tim very much still angry, so they're going out to meet Lucinda's mum and dad and Tim's two friends. So when they're in the car, it was icy, like absolutely icy. Tim would not look at Lucinda, would not talk to her, and it just felt hella awkward. And I kind of felt empathy for Lucinda at the end of the day, because I thought she doesn't deserve this. She doesn't deserve how Tim is reacting right now, because this man gets pissed off with everything at the drop of a motherfucking hat, to be fair. So Lucinda just turns to him and says to him, well, how are we going to do this, like going in? And he said, just put your bloody foot through the front door. And I thought, come on Tim, nah, come on my guy. Come on, my guy, wind your neck in now, because now you're becoming insulting, and you're insulting Lucinda's intelligence at the end of the day. Lucinda didn't even know what to say. The car stopped. Tim says, "Oh, we're here. Can I get out?" He gets out, shuts the door, and leaves Lucinda sitting in the car. Doesn't even go to the one side, opens it, and says, "You know what? I'm sorry. I'm angry." Da, 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 da. So again, God loves a trier. And Lucinda is nothing but a trier, because she really likes this man for some unknown reason. Decides to go and try with him again, even to the point of saying that she apologised, you know what, for getting into that moment and saying what she said. But he's also got to accept some responsibility in terms of how Lucinda is feeling as well, because he won't do that. Because Tim is assuming that Lucinda was reveling in the fact that he was getting his ass handed to him on that couch. That's what Tim is got to be in his bonnet about. And it's his assumptions that's making him look like an ass. Like, absolutely. So you got the friends and Lucinda's mum and dad so excited to see them when they come in. So they do go in. Tim is saying that he is going to be like really direct, and he's going to let it all out when they ask, and all this, that and the other. And I'm like, here we go, the tit for tat shit, because this is what Tim does as well. He does tit for tat. When he feels fucked over by Lucinda, he will then try and do the same thing to her. I don't like the tit for tat business at all. So when we get in there now, they sit down and they go to have that chatter in regards to the situation and how their marriage is. Do you think Tim starts that conversation first? No, not at all. Lucinda starts that conversation. Lucinda explains that they're not in a good place right now, and Lucinda is the one that goes in and tells everybody what had happened. Now Tim does bite back, and I'm telling you, this man has a colossal size chip on his freaking shoulder for this woman right now. So his friend could see in that VC, in her VC, when she's talking to the producers, and she's saying she could see that all that was emanating from this man was absolute anger. She could see in his eyes he was angry. So she said that she was talking about how damaged Tim is, and the fact that he always like pulls back and shuts everything down, and then it comes out in this way. And then she starts to get upset in the turn in like the trauma that he's had to deal with. And I'm like, this is what I mean about hurt people hurting people, because Tim is hurt, and all he can think about is hurting Lucinda more, which is absolutely fucking disgusting in my books. And this is why I'm saying these people need to deal with their baggage and their shit. Yes, we all have baggage and this, that and the other, but when it comes to the extent that I'd say Tristan's is and Tim is, they should deal with that shit before they apply to stuff like this, because it's not fair then, as I keep saying, on the partner having to handle all of that baggage, having to handle that and navigate a way through. So because Tim was at the table literally saying that if Lucinda had told me what she was going to say before we even got to that couch, he said it would be done, it would be over, he would have left. And they basically were saying like, where is he? And he said is more out than he is in, and that caused Lucinda to break down. And even you could see the upsetness and Lucinda breaking down at that table. Tim just looked at her. He had no emotion on his face except for the fact that his face was quite red and his eyes were quite red and watery. And I think that only happened because it was in his anger that he was feeling that way. He had no visceral reaction. So it was the dad that turned around and literally lit the fuck out of Tim, and said to him, "You're always pissed off though." He says, I'm not taking that no more. You're always pissed off. When does it change? You're quite a stubborn person. When does this change? So he ended up taking Tim away and having a chat with him, and I was like, oh, this is Daddy Bear now. He is going to protect his cub. No matter the age that a parent gets, your child is still your child. So he is going to protect his daughter in any way, shape that he can. Because the one thing he hated was seeing Lucinda crying in the way that she did at that table. Because Lucinda really likes this man. Like, really likes this man. And he literally ripped her heart out when he said that. Like, seriously, and you could see it on her face. So at first, with this chat between Tim and Lucinda's dad, he literally stares Tim down. Like, he doesn't break eye contact. He stares Tim down, and Tim is starting to look slightly uncomfortable. So Dad then calls him out and said that doesn't believe that Tim gives Lucinda any respect. And Tim is basically saying that he does respect her, but he says, I get pissed off a lot. And Dad says to him, that's a cop-out. That's an absolute cop-out. And he's saying to Tim, isn't it time that you started changing your habits? And Tim is saying, like, you know, this is hard. And Tim and Lucinda's dad straight away got, this man's got walls, and told Tim that you've got walls. And it's getting kind of hard to jump over that wall, and it's starting to get boring now. Change the record, change the speech, change your behaviour. So Dad's turned around and he says, and I'm starting to get pissed off too at the end of the day. So he says, you need to stop getting your tits in a tangle and pull your finger out. And that got Tim laughing, and Tim turned around and said in his VC, when I laugh, I drop my walls. And I'm thinking, but you haven't even give Lucinda a chance to even make you laugh, my guy, because you wouldn't talk to her. You wouldn't talk to her. So Dad says it's been like, you know, 4, I think he started saying like 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm like, no, Daddy dearest, it's coming up to 6 weeks now. It's coming up to 6 weeks now, and Tim keeps doing this shit. Dad told him exactly what the experts told him about his barriers, and it's about time he started to let those fuckers down and see if Lucinda will be there to catch him. Then I say to myself, why is Tim there? Like, seriously, why is he there if he is not going to try with Lucinda, if he is not going to grab this woman with all his might and foster a good connection and relationship with her, because she's a damn good woman, man. He's going to throw away a good one, and for what? So Tim is basically saying that he knows how special Lucinda is. And I'm just like, I don't think Tim honestly understands how special Lucinda is, because if he did, he would not treat her in the way that he's treating her. And he's been treating her god awful, and she's literally there each week trying with this man. So and then after that, Lucinda's dad fucking told him to have a one-night stand with his daughter. I was like, oh my god, imagine that. Imagine someone's dad telling you to have a one-night stand with their daughter, and maybe that will cure all your ills. Tim didn't know where to put himself after that. Honestly, didn't know where to put himself after that. So then they go back to the table. Everything's A-okay. You can see in Tim's face that he's a lot more lighter now. So Lucinda again turns around and apologises to him. So then he starts speaking up, and it was his friend that actually pointed out and said, hold on, have you not missed something? And he's like, wait, what? He says, Lucinda's just apologised to you. And he went, oh, yeah, I do apologise. He apologised to her after that. And I'm like, yeah, after your friend pulled you up. And this is what I mean. I don't get, it's a select certain few of these people on here will do some fuck shit to people and then won't actually turn around and apologise for the behaviours that they did, which also makes me believe if you are not ready or you are not going to apologise for the fuck shit behaviours that you just did to a person, then that means you honestly don't believe that you owe them an apology and you feel justified in what you did. But anyway, and that's where that episode ended, and I'll be back in quick succession with the next episode, because I know the family and friends continues, and we'll see how all that goes with people. But as I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so you know I'm doing videos, and I'll be back on your screens very soon. Peace out.